Well, welcome back. It's the end of September 2013, and it's been 2 years since we bought Rittergut.
Already 2 years?
Yes, it's moving right along. Our original plan was at the end of 3 years to evaluate the situation, see how our budget was holding up, how many hours that we have worked on it, just Linda and I, which an estimate was 4,000, and and we had hoped to have the first floor and the second floor completed at the end of 3 years. Right now, we have put in 3,408 hours, and we're
You're
not.
sure about that?
Yes, absolutely. I keep a good record. And we're not done with the first floor yet and done very little to the second floor. One of the things that happened is I had not anticipated a lot of little side projects that were necessary. Take a look at what ate up about 400 hours of labor that could have gone into the first floor. Welcome to Tripping Over 60.
We're Jim and Linda Ryan, a couple of baby boomers who've caught the travel bug.
Come with us on our adventure
As we move to Wilka-Haslau, Germany to begin a new life and a new dream.
We knew from the beginning we had to do something with the front steps because they were a safety hazard. Over the years, the steps had shifted because of freezing ground and were very uneven. First, we had to move the heavy steps out of the way and dig out and level the dirt that was underneath of it. At the same time, we leveled the cobblestones to make it much easier to walk. Next, we added a little touch of color to make it feel like home. The last thing we did was add the cement and smooth everything out. Nice looking job. We're taking a closer look at the old staircase. You can see where they're buried in the dirt and the rock and the rubble. It's about 3 feet deep, but I got to shore up the sagging steps before I can take this out. It's just undoing a big puzzle. Along with the back wall collapsing, the floor had a slight problem in it. It was called a big hole. You can see down through it and into the basement, so watch that first step, folks. Well, I've been excavating the Gesinde house basement, getting rid of all of the rubble and the dirt from the collapsed wall. How have I been doing it? 2 5-gallon buckets at a time. Now that's a lot of steps and trips up and down this stairway in the past 2 weeks. But I'm almost done. The good dirt gets put in the wheelbarrow and used in the front yard to level out all of the low spots. We try to utilize everything that we can that we have at our sources. All of the usable brick that I was able to salvage from the collapsed wall is stored in the basement, and we will reuse it to rebuild the wall. The rubble, broken brick, go here where it'll get hauled off later, and the usable stone is used back there for my fence that'll enclose my compost pile. So I got about 2 or 3 more hours to go and it should be done. Got this back section open because I've been doing work down in the cellar and I've been doing shoring, and I've added more shoring up here. I've got to reposition this so now I can go in and out of here, and the way this has dropped, you can see how much the wall has buckled and the foundation has sagged, and just inside these boards here is a hole that drops down into the basement, and this is a brick ceiling, brick floor. So I got to be kind of careful going in and out of here, but Now I have easy access to this part of the house. Been doing a lot of work back here, the excavation, setting up scaffolding, doing the trimming of the trees which got to come down. And we have finally got this opened up enough. Of course of widening all this out and finding where the cobblestone walkway went, I discovered an old cistern here. I filled part of it back in once I figured out what it was. And then right along the back of the cistern appears to be a wall, so we think that this was the wall for the existing buildings that went back up towards the back of the property. The reason I determined that this was a cistern, I dug down about 2, maybe 3 feet, and I found cement and plaster on the walls, which kind of puzzled me. I thought it was some kind of an entrance. A little farther down, I found tar over here on the plaster, which meant that this had been waterproofed, and that's when I figured out this was a cistern. They probably had a hand-operated pump here to collect the rainwater and send it out to their livestock. Rather interesting. Some of the things that we unearthed was a 12-foot long I-beam, steel angle iron, miscellaneous bits of tools and household items, and of course, lots of brick which will be stacked into piles and be reused later. The plumber gave us the option of doing some of the work ourselves to save money, or we could pay his crew to do it. So, we like to save money. The first thing we did was go ahead, level the ground, and set the forms. Code required 6 inches of sand for the propane tank to set on. After we did that, the propane tank was called out, and it arrived quite late in the day, so they were kind of setting it after dark. The first thing they did was bring out a pad that was 4 inches thick to go on top of the sand. Next, they set the propane tank. By then it was getting dark, so they had to work with lights.
In the morning, we went out and took a look at the tank in the daylight. Wow, 4,800 liter tank. That was a big one.
Our next little project was to dig the ditch, which was required. It is 20 inches deep. The bottom of the trench needed to be filled with 4 inches of sand to protect the gas line from any rocks. Klaus installed the gas line in the trench and hooked up the line and the valves to the existing tank. The final step, fill the trench and compact the dirt, and that project is finished. It was now time for the propane tank to be filled. Ah, a nice warm heater. Fritz also approves. Well, we have arrived at our destination. You can see the sign at the train station. We've been traveling for 11 hours. We'll show you what it took to get here, and we'll explain why we did it the way we did it. For Linda's birthday, we decided to head about 300 miles west to check out the historic city of Cochem, and we also took a trip to the castle of Burg Eltz.
Getting from east to west on the Deutsche Bahn El Cheapo Happy Weekender ticket doesn't happen fast, though. We transferred trains in Hof, Würzburg, Frankfurt, and Koblenz. Along the way, we took lots of pictures and ate our snacks. We even passed a train museum along the way, complete with old locomotives on display.
After more snacks and a nasty little spill that Linda took, which gave her a big goose egg on her arm, we finally made it to the picturesque train station in Cochem.
Cochem is located in the western German state of Rhineland-Pfalz. Its earliest documentation comes from the 9th century. Today the population is about 5,000.
This is a beautiful old city, worth seeing for its natural beauty and traditional architecture.
The terrain is hilly and green, perfect for creating Riesling wines. You can spend your days hiking or strolling along the promenade, or you can spend your evenings overlooking the river. The city itself boasts charming squares, bustling with activity and teeming with traditional architecture. Its centuries-old city walls and intricate wood carvings on half-timbered buildings are just, well, perfect.
Picturesque Mosel River cruises pass through the city, with tourists flocking to the cobblestone streets, the quaint tourist information center, and numerous wine shops.
Of course, Jim had to make a wine purchase as well.
One of the must-do activities is to take the chairlift and see Cochem from above. And here we are. We're taking the gondola ride up to the top of the hill. And Linda's afraid of heights.
Yeah.
See you at the top. It's really a very interesting view up here. It's really nice and quiet when you're hanging on a steel cable 3/4 of an inch in diameter, 50 feet off the ground.
Thanks for reminding us all of that. Well, we survived the gondola ride. The weather's beautiful. Down below us is the village of Cochem, and beyond it is the Mosel River. It makes getting scared half to death just fine. Did you have a good time?
Yep.
We're here in one of the larger squares. This one in particular interested me because up here there is a carillon of bells. Jim has counted them and said that there are
22.
We're not on the hour or anything, so we're not at risk.
And and we are just inside the big tower.
So, yeah, we're just standing here, and this is the same street that we had taken a look at this giant turm. All really great stuff. If this doesn't get your travel juices flowing, you might want to check your pulse rate. We love this stuff. We checked into our B&B, the family winery Rademacher, which featured friendly staff, a delicious breakfast, and a cozy breakfast nook. The B&B also makes its own wines.
At the B&B, we met Pam, a traveler from San Francisco, who served as a fabulous dinner mate at a cozy German restaurant.
Hi. Today's lesson is a lesson in things happen. This morning we started off with good intentions of going to Burg Eltz, but because we got on the wrong train, we're spending a wonderful day here in Koblenz. Currently we're at the Deutsche Eck, the point where the confluence of the Rhine River and the Mosel River come together. From my reading of my guidebook, apparently Koblenz actually is Latin for something that vaguely means confluence. It's a beautiful day. Here we are. You make the best of what you've got, and travel's an adventure.
We're having lunch on the Rhine. If you look over my shoulder about 100 yards, that is where the Mosel River joins with the Rhine River. So right now it's very restful and relaxed.
That point of land is referred to as Deutsche Eck. It's of great significance to the Germans. There's a big statue there of Wilhelm I.
He united all of the states into what would become Germany as we sort of know it today, minus a couple of world wars and changing the boundaries.
Speaking of history, today's my birthday.
Yes.
So Jim is out, once again, sparing no expense to buy me the very best of birthday lunches.
This is a view from the viewing platform inside the statue of Wilhelm I. You can take beautiful cruises down all the way to Budapest, Hungary, and beyond. Someday it would be fun to do that. There's some of the boats doing commerce on the river, tour boats, barges. It's a beautiful area in here. And that is the fortress up on the hill, which we will be visiting. So follow us along.
Here we are. We're taking a gondola ride across the Rhine. And when we get to the other side, if I survive, we're going to be visiting this fortress up here, because it's all included in one price.
This was a big, important structure during the Middle Ages because it controlled all of the commerce and protected the river where the Mosel and the Rhine come together. We have just entered the first courtyard of Ehrenbreitstein Fortress. Join us and we'll show you what we see as we see it. As you can see from this model, just how massive the fortress really is.
The fortress dates back to 1000 AD, although what you see today represents construction undertaken in the 1800s.
The compound has scores of tunnels connecting to the various areas. If you look down this tunnel, it's about 75 to 80 feet long, and there is 2 killing holes down from the ceiling. If somebody got this far into the tunnel, they would dump scalding water or hot tar on top of you. Nowadays, looking through the old archer's windows gives you a stunning view of the city. We are doing a sweep of the largest courtyard here. What's interesting is that in all of the travel films we've seen, I have not, and neither has Linda, seen anything of the inside of this fortress, so it's possible none of you out there have seen it either. Currently, we are inside one of the wings in the upper levels of the fortress. It's amazing to see all of the stonework, the arched ceilings, the naves that they've built, and each one now has been converted to displays. And if you look straight ahead, you will see through the modern doors section after section of just things to see, including interesting displays of early modes of transportation.
Back in the city, downtown Koblenz is bustling with dynamic shops lining the pedestrian streets. You'll find no abandoned buildings here. Koblenz also has its share of peaceful squares featuring fountains, statues, and nifty bits of architecture.
This is a great old church here. Notice the type of spires on the roof and how steep. It's real predominant in this part of Germany, and I would not want to be the guy to have to go up there and make roofing repairs. In addition to a steep roof, the Catholic Church also features a carillon of bells and a peaceful inner garden. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. The batteries are almost shot in the cameras, and we still got a ways to go to get back to our room and dinner tonight for Linda's birthday. So tomorrow is a new day.
Maybe we'll get on the right train tomorrow.
Maybe we'll get on the right train tonight.
Ooh, even better.
Well, today we caught the correct train. We are at the jumping off point here in Mosel. So it's about a 2-hour walk, so they say, through a nice pine forest to the castle called Burg Eltz. As we approached the trail, we saw some really neat examples of architecture and some stately old houses. Millions of years ago, when these rocks were formed and the mountains were formed, all this was laying flat, and then something pushed these almost straight up. Here's the cracks from the various layers. Amazing, amazing. Hello. We are on the nature walk, sort of, that leads up to Burg Eltz, and we stopped just for a moment. This is so pleasant, the waterfall and the little stream behind it. Kind of what you visualize it as these writers describe something that's so picturesque. Now what we got to do is start climbing that stairs, and this is probably the steepest part.
Well, 5.5 kilometers through the nature trail and the hike, and all of a sudden we're rewarded. There it is, Burg Eltz.
We're on the rampart leading into the front of the castle. It's a beautiful place, and a view up here is magnificent. If you just kind of take and pan down to the stream here, this is where we walked along, and it runs down the canyon. Okay, we are in the courtyard waiting for our English-speaking tour to start. Unfortunately, we cannot take photographs or videos inside, but we can kind of take a pan shot out here.
The castle was built in the 12th century by the Eltz family, and they have remained the sole owners for 34 generations. The castle is unique because of its rare furnishings and its excellent condition, owed mainly to its good fortune in avoiding destruction in times of war. We were able to get some nice pictures of the exterior, including the white chapel that juts out of the stone walls and some old stone cannonballs. We guess you'll just have to come and see the interior of Burg Eltz and experience her 800-plus years of history for yourself. Well, we hope you've enjoyed seeing the adventures of Linda's birthday weekend. It's our last night here, and it's beautiful. We're sitting here right on the river.
So, until next time, I'm Jim,
I'm Linda.
and we're tripping over 60.